Hi, this is Matt, and the purpose of this video is to help us not react to the first story that we hear. It's human nature that when we receive bad news or hear something negative, we want to latch onto it, believe it, and run with it. And that is about one of the worst things that we could do because we've only heard half the story, right? We've only heard the first part. And if we go and ask and find out the second part, we'll be in a better place for it. We'll be in a better place to make decisions. And then honestly, there's a third story, and that is the truth. Once you've heard the first and second story, you can put the pieces together, find out the why, and then you have the third story, which is the truth. One of the issues with believing the first thing that we hear is that it wants us to react, or we feel like we need to respond. And the truth is, we don't always need to respond immediately. That feeling of needing to respond immediately will cause us to make poor decisions. So this applies in our work lives and in our families' lives. So in my family life, for example, I have kids, and one of my kids will come to me and they'll say, well, my brother hit me. And I could jump in and get mad and go punish the other child. Or I could step back and say, okay, wait a minute, there's always a why. And what's the other side of the story? Okay, what's the second story? Why did your brother hit you? Really, your brother hit you? Why did your brother hit you? Oh, well, I threw something at him, smacked him in the face. Well, there you go. If you don't want to get hit, don't throw things at people, right? So, there's always a second story, and when you put those together, you can find the truth. In our work lives, for example, I was a manager over a few different employees, and I had a client call in to another manager to complain about one of my employees. And that manager came to me mad, upset, indignant. You've got to do something about your employee. They're not doing their job. And the client accused the agent of not reaching out to them, not responding to them, things of that nature. And so I could jump on that bandwagon, or I could take a moment, gather some facts, not get attached, and find out what the whole story is. And so I reached out to that agent and I said, hey, listen, this is the accusation against you. What's going on? Talk to me about it. Do you have any proof? Do you have any documentation? And it's okay to ask for that. If you're seeking the truth, people that you ask for documentation from shouldn't feel threatened by that. They should appreciate that you care enough to ask for that information. And so don't ever feel bad about asking for documentation or asking for someone to speak up for themselves. And so this agent was able to provide to me phone statements where they had called numerous times, left messages numerous times, and even showed me their text messages where they'd reached out to this client numerous times, and the client never responded back. So that was the second side of the story. The third story, which is the truth, is that client was not doing what they were supposed to be doing. And to defer that negative attention to them, what they did was they pushed off onto the other agent and passed blame to the other agent. And in doing so, tried to redirect the negative attention and basically cast shade. And so the truth is they were just trying to get out of something that they were supposed to be doing. So in any sense of the matter, the important thing is don't get attached. Take a step back, gather facts, know that there's always a why, and then you can make your decision. The why is always important. I've had clients ask me for things that at first seemed pretty ridiculous, but I didn't judge. I took the time, asked them, what is it you need? Why do you need it? And come to find out that ridiculous request wasn't ridiculous at all. It was actually very reasonable. They had a great reason behind it. I've also worked with employees who they went back and they changed some documentation, and at first glance it looked very unscrupulous, right? Like, that's kind of shady. Well, why are they going back and changing it in this area? Well, they changed it because they didn't have access to change it in another system where they should have been able to change it. And so they needed a place to document their notes. So always take a moment, gather your facts, don't get attached, know that there's three sides to every story, and then make your decision. Thank you.